Welcome. Thank you for coming back as we together learn how to reflect better on what it means to take the path of kindness. Today, I'd like to start by looking at the image of God. If we were asked to draw a picture of God, or if we asked a classroom of children to draw a picture of God, what do you think they or we would come up with? It's an interesting thought and reflection, I think. If they concentrated and if we concentrated on the Old Testament, most of the Old Testament speaks about God as the image of the just judge. So maybe if we had to draw a picture, the children did, they might draw a picture of someone with a long flowing black robe with a gavel in his or her hand, ready to cast judgment on a person. And maybe that they would be casting judgment on a person's successes or failures or what they did right and what they did wrong. The picture of the just judge comes pretty clearly when we think of the image of God in the Old Testament. But what about the New Testament? There's so many images of God in the New Testament, that gives us pictures of what God is like. And those images of God in the New Testament are given to us mainly through Jesus. He offers us so many different images of who God is. God is like a king. God is like a mother hen. God is love, light, breath, wind. God is like a shepherd seeking a lost sheep. God is like a woman finding a lost coin. And more than any of these images, we have the image of God as Abba God, as Father God, like a loving parent God who wishes nothing but the best for their children. And it is also the life of Jesus which displays to us the best who God is. And it is Jesus who tells us that when we see the face of God, when we see the face of someone caring for another, that's when we see the face of God. In love, in generosity, in tenderness, in selflessness and self-giving, Jesus wanted people to know that if they see the face of God in loving and caring for their neighbor, then they will discover that the sacred is in their midst. We don't have to look far to find God, for Jesus tells us that where there is love, there is God. And Jesus tells us that when we see a human person living a totally loving, gracious, kind life, then we see the face of God. We see the face of God each day in those we meet, and we offer to them our own face, in which, if it is filled with kindness, care, love, generosity, then we will also be encountering the face of God. Now I'd like to tell you a once upon a time story. Once upon a time, there was a Sufi, that means a teacher, in India. And this Sufi smuggled treasure across the border and masterfully eluded the guards every time. Every day, for 4 years, he would parade back and forth, and with every crossing, the guards knew that he was hiding expensive goods that he would sell for outrageous amounts of money on the other side. But despite their thorough searches, they could find nothing in the saddle of the donkey that he rode. They were so puzzled. Finally, years later, the Sufi moved to another country, and he met his frontier guard, who said to him, "Okay, now you can tell me, what were you smuggling?" And the Sufi smiled broadly at him and said, "My dear friend, I was smuggling donkeys." This story, once upon a time story, makes me wonder how often I have missed the face of God because I was too busy looking someplace else to realize that the face of God was right in front of me. So let's go on with faith as our guide. Yes, we can have doubts. And yes, we are surrounded by sufferings on all sides. And no, I don't often understand why, but I will continue to believe that God suffers when I suffer, that God weeps when I weep, and that I don't have to look far to find God revealed in my neighbor, that God can be right in front of me and I don't even notice. God is on the side of kindness and love. So where there is kindness and love, there is God. Thank you. Look forward to your returning next week.